So welcome to the one person in the chat so far. I will be getting started shortly. I am cutting up an avocado so I can put some lemon juice and salt on it. And that was going to be my midnight snack or my witching hour snack or whatever. Welcome to the two people in the chat. So by the way, if you guys are still in the chat, you are listening to healing vibrations that actually heal your heart chakra. So give thanks and breathe it in. And as soon as I squirt this lemon juice and salt over my avocado, I will be right with you. I know y'all like, why she ain't do this before I went live? Because really, you know, I want to give people time to see that I'm live. They never send out my notifications, and you know, even if you know, giving people time to just see that I'm live and if people are awake or whatever. But you know, really these witching hour releases, you know, they're there for whenever you want to watch them, okay? Because I realize that most of the time, you know, now when I was not trying to do these, I would be up, okay, at the witching hour, and it's like now that I am doing this, you know, now my ass be asleep like most, you know, some of the nights when I want to do it. So give me just a minute, y'all. I gotta salt up my avocado. All right. So if anybody's still even in here. Okay. So my one person is still in here, probably lurking, okay, since you haven't said anything. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk about what I'm wanting to talk about. Okay, so mm, I am eating. This is so delicious. Um, Avocado with lemon and salt. So anyway, welcome to the bushes, lurker, and whoever else is going to see this later and join um the stream. So this is the witching hour release. Again, you have been listening to heart chakra healing vibrations in the background. Okay, and the title is what is it? The Valley of the Shadow of Death. That sounds pretty dramatic, but actually, this spiritual awakening that not just me, but a lot of other people have, that I felt like, I really felt like it. I know that I'm not the first person to go through one. I'm not the only person who has had a spiritual awakening. I know this. But there's like a mass spiritual awakening going on the whole planet. So, a lot of people are having an awakening around this time, and we all are on different levels. And I feel like, you know, I guess all of us, no matter when we wake up, we are ahead of somebody on the path, as far as they haven't gotten to this point yet. You know what I'm saying? So you come to a point, if your awakening is truly spiritual, where you realize that you have to be a beacon for other people, because there was parts of your path where you needed that beacon of light, you needed a guide, you needed a teacher. And at some point, on the path, you just naturally fall into place and like become, who it is you're becoming. The path is all about, you becoming who it is that you're supposed to become. Okay. The path is like a journey. Okay. Because, we talk a lot about healing our inner child and the shadow work that we have to do, and all the work that we do on the path, trying to kill or subdue the ego and connect with a higher self, and the twin flame, this and that, and all the things that are thrown in on the journey and part of the awakening. I mean, for me, the journey, especially parts of it, especially when you're going through your dark night of the soul, I would say that that journey absolutely does feel like, you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death. It literally, that's literally what it feels like. I mean, when you're on it, you have to stay focused, which is the key, because there are a lot of distractions and things that can interfere. Okay. Um, but you can't allow interference on this journey. You can't, there's absolutely no room for other people's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you've ever, and most people have, because for some reason, narcissism is very intimately tied into this twin flame phenomenon, and also to the spiritual awakening, and especially to my own personal spiritual awakening, because that is the demographic, the target demographic that I am, that I'm targeting with my work. Okay, because I do feel like that they are like the cancerous element in the world, that is like eating at the rest of the quote unquote body, of humanity as a whole. Okay, so I feel like this is a virus, a cancer, some sort of spiritual parasite that must be eradicated, that must be destroyed. Okay, so basically, you know, it is a journey, okay? It's a journey where you go into the lower regions of yourself, okay? And as I'm saying this, I really would like for you guys to get the visual of the yin and yang, okay? And just think about the light and the dark, but don't put them side by side. Turn it on its side, and the darkness, because this is what it feels like you're traveling from that lower half that will be dark if you turned it on its side, and you're reaching up to the light half, okay? And there comes a point in it where you are actually feeling as if you are on an emotional roller coaster, because you are teetering between dimensions. You have moments when you are in your higher self and feeling good and powerful and strong, and then you dip back down into the lower self, and you're feeling worthless and stuck and stagnant, apathetic. And so, all of that is part of the journey, and that emotional roller coaster, it does smooth out, okay? Because right now I'm feeling pretty balanced, okay? And I've experienced the total, I'm not gonna say that I'm by no means at the end of the journey at all or any of that, but like I see a lot of people who are going through the things that I've already gone through, you know what I'm saying? And so right now, today, and I would say like since the past 3 days, I would say since around the 20th, I have felt a lot more balanced, in my emotions. And it's, that's just indicative of me successfully beginning to really balance, the masculine and feminine energies within myself. Okay. And again, it did feel and does at points in the journey feel like a journey through, the valley of the shadow of death. Okay. It's a journey again through the lower regions of yourself. It's like you have to go in and rescue your inner child from the grips of your own ego, from the grips of other people's egos, okay, from the narc demon, okay. And you have to lead your inner child through that valley of the shadow of death back into your higher self. And this is all a journey that is taking place within the self. Okay. So, it literally feels like, you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, and it's on so many levels, you know what I'm saying? Because, dealing with your own shadows, you know what I'm saying? And then, everyone else, basically, when you wake up, it's like Neo in the Matrix, and you realize that most people are nothing but their shadows. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people are like in my dream, most of the people were possessed and didn't know it. Most people are narcissistic in nature, or they are in the lower realms. Okay. And when I talk about, 3D and 5D in the higher realms, I'm not necessarily talking about places or like different locations. I'm literally talking about different states of being. Okay. Different emotional and psychological states of being. Okay. And so, and shout out to Low Priestess Jamila, okay? So if you guys have not seen the Low Priestess video, that video is on my um, it is on my community page, okay? Because she's been up flagging the videos on my No Narc Network channel, all night. So I know she's trying to find something to flag. You may be the one lurking in my chat right now, but shout out anyway to you. The flagging. Basically, the video that she flagged was a video from like 4 months ago. It was from September, but she wanted that video to be gone because that video is the proof that, I'm not just bullying her and she's not a victim of anything, but that she is in her situation because of the work that she tried to do on me. Okay. So it basically hit that mirror, and now she's suffering the effects of her own intentions towards me. Okay. So, Oshun Ajay has not cursed anyone, but plenty of people have cursed themselves in their attempts to curse Oshun Ajay. Okay, so shout out to Low Priestess Jamila. If y'all haven't checked out that video, again, check it out on my community page. Okay, but again, walking, the valley of the shadow of death right now, I feel that as if I have walked through that valley, you know what I'm saying? And, because I've talked about it, when I talked about when I was at and this was around 4 months ago, so I don't know when it was, but the video is somewhere on this channel, okay, where I talked about Santa Muerte, okay, La Santísima Muerte, visiting me at my ancestor altar, okay? And at the time, I really did not understand why she was there. Why was she at my ancestor altar? So, these avocados are so good, y'all. So anyway, I didn't know why she was there, and I talked about it. So, Santa Muerte is, referred to as Our Lady of Holy Death, or the Saint of Holy Death. And basically, she appeared to me at my ancestor altar like right before I had begun to have my spiritual awakening, and realized that spiritual awakening, walking through the valley of the shadow of death, is the holy death that she had come to prepare me for. Again, I remembered her feeling very comforting, very nurturing, mothering, a healing energy, nothing fearful at all. And now I understand, okay, because, she appeared to me. I mean, a lot of things come to me ahead of time, you know what I'm saying, to like prepare me for things. And when my lower self, when I'm not in alignment with that and with your intuition, which is why a lot of us are shocked into an awakening, because we hadn't been listening to our intuition, up until that point. And I mean, that the pain that you go through in an awakening, it shocks you into, never ignoring your intuition ever again. Okay. But she was preparing me. This is why she appeared at my altar. So I will find that video and I will put it as a link when I'm done with this video. Okay. So, but yeah, I've been thinking about that. Like, at the time when she appeared, I had no idea why she was there. But now that I have walked through that valley, now that I feel a lot more balanced, I've cried rivers, I have went beyond the threshold of pain that I thought that I would be able to, that I thought that I would be able to withstand. And I've gone through a lot, okay? And basically, it is a holy death. And, I went through that, and I see a lot of people going through that part of it. That part of it is like that dark side of the yin yang symbol. Okay. So when you're going through that part of it, that's the holy death. And as you continue down the path, you start getting to the good part. You do find balance. Okay. Because right now I feel as if I have, actively taken part in removing a lot of blockages, that were there for me, going on the path as far as being able to let go of the pain, no longer being angry about things, and just allowing the healing to happen, which naturally happens with time if you don't hold on. Time is going to progress, and whatever happened to you is eventually going to be in the past. Okay. So if you don't hold on to that, healing will happen. Okay. So the blockages I feel have been removed due to a lot of the personal work that I have done on myself. It has been a hard road through the valley of the shadow of death. Okay. But at this moment, today I have really felt, a deepening sense of peace within myself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm allowing that to just be what it is, because I am healed. You know what I'm saying? I am committed to staying aligned now with this higher perspective, that I have. Time, and I say that, completely, you know, being completely healed is not being quote unquote perfect, but it is being in a, being committed to being in a spirit of excellence. Okay. And there's a difference. Okay. And we're going to talk about that. But basically, you get to a point on the path where you just know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are being guided and protected by the source. Okay. That is both with and in you. Okay. And we talked about that before. That is what the word within means. Okay. And this is where the creator is. Okay. Both with and in you. Okay. And when you recognize that, then you have that connection with everything else, and you understand the unity consciousness that's there. Okay. So like I said, I feel a deepening sense of peace, and I'm just going to allow that to happen, because as you begin to, feel that, and you reset your mindset, you have a new mindset. Then you know that your blessings are on the way. Okay. And you just have a very powerful presence of peace, because the peace has become, like, it has replaced the anxiety, the fears, and all of the things that used to be there. And I'm learning also that, this journey is about replacing things. You know what I'm saying? Replacing, toxic people in your life, replacing toxic addictions that you may have, toxic habits, replacing all the things that don't serve you, aligning with your higher self. As you release those things, find better things to put in their place. That way you don't feel such a sense of loss, you don't feel so empty. Okay. So, a lot of the shadow work readings that I've been doing, they have been revealing a lot of people's things that people, these things are there, they're in your subconscious, but they're in your subconscious for a reason. You put them there, because you did not want to, you didn't want to see it, you didn't want to accept it as being a part of you, and you didn't want to deal with it. And so, they reside in that yang, that darker, um, half of the yin yang symbol, the darker half of the whole. Okay. It is still very much a part of you. And, that dark half of the yin yang symbol is actually the feminine part of it. Okay. It is feminine energy. Okay. But basically, the shadow work is all about really recognizing, acknowledging, and embracing your own personal perfect imperfections. Okay. So, on the journey, it's important to know that you are not being charged with the impossible goal of perfection, quote unquote perfection, that religious people call perfection. What they call perfection, by its very nature, is an unreachable goal. Okay. You're constantly being reminded, by religious people of how, we all, quote unquote, fall short, okay, of the glory of, quote unquote, God. Okay. So, that connotation, that the implication that, you should be trying to reach perfection even though it's impossible. We're not going to, we're not reaching for impossible goals. Okay. So where we are headed, where we are, where we stand right now, we're replacing perfection again with the spirit of excellence. Okay. Because you can very well acknowledge your own personal imperfections and still commit to a spirit of excellence in everything you do. And it becomes who you are. And it is the equivalent of, quote unquote, perfection. Okay. Without the judgment, without the conditions. This is about the journey is, again, it's about unconditional love. Okay. And so we have to be willing to release all of those conditions that were placed upon us by society, by the church, by the schools, by whoever. Anything outside of the self should not be governing our choices and decisions. Okay. Mm. If y'all hear me smacking, I do apologize, but these avocado chunks with lemon and salt are so damn delicious. Okay. So anyway, I was talking about when Santa Muerte appeared to me at my altar a few months ago. I'm realizing now that she came because I was getting ready to experience the quote unquote holy death. And so as you progress down this path, you do experience that dark night of the soul, which is like walking through the valley of the shadow of death, but you also experience a rebirth. Okay. So again, right now I'm feeling a deepening sense of peace. I'm feeling healing, the healing. I'm more on the healing side of the journey now. And so a lot of that pain, I've been able to let go of. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry at anyone. You know what I'm saying? I do feel that I truly am overstanding the entire situation. Okay. And, standing over the situation. Okay. Being able to see everything from a higher perspective, a bird's eye view. Okay. The self-love that is cultivated when when you commit to constantly upgrading the self. Okay. And you remove your focus from other people, from the world, from expectations from other people, from judgments from other people. When you are committed to upgrading yourself for yourself because you love the self, and the upgrade is happening from the inside out. You're committing to a spirit of excellence. Okay. It is a soul contract with your higher self. It's a contract between the lower self and the higher self. Okay. It's a contract that you are committing to being the best at whatever it is that you decide to do. Okay. And constantly upgrading yourself from within. Okay. So when you allow your lower self to embody your spirit, to fully align with your higher self, you don't feel any sense of lack or need to be seen or validated by anyone else. I mean, the self-love it becomes the halo, okay, that surrounds you. Like you don't need, I would always play this song by her, and I know y'all have probably heard it, called Focus. And I still love the song, and I know where in someone's soul that this song came from. Um, and I want you guys to go back and listen to it. I will put the link in the description if not, but it comes from someone who is not has not filled their own cups, and who feels this need. And this is most of humanity, so this is not a judgment at all. Okay. But it comes from being in a relationship, or needing to be in one, um wanting to be noticed, wanting to be seen, wanting to be validated, to be loved, to be valued by someone, wanting to mean the world to someone, wanting someone to be willing to fight for you, to be willing to change for you, to be willing to want to take care of you, to want to ease some of your troubles, some of your stress. All of those things are a part of, it's a reflection of us not being full in the self and looking for this validation from outside of the self. Okay. But once you align and allow yourself to fully align with your higher self, your spirit, and let your spirit fully embody who you are, and you look yourself in the eyes, your true self in the eyes, in the mirror. And I am speaking literally of, doing meditations in the mirror, positive affirmations, looking at the way that you have literally physically transformed, along with, in all the other ways that you have transformed. When you allow yourself to truly see the self, which is the spirit within you, you will be so mesmerized by your own beauty, your own brilliance, okay, that you won't need anyone else to see you. You won't need anyone else to love you, to focus on you. But that need to be focused on, it comes from, the key word here is need, okay? When you fully embody your higher self and align with your spirit, you don't need anything. Okay, you have become everything. Okay, it's a an experience that is almost hard to explain, but you begin to feel yourself aligned with your higher spirit once you achieve this balance of your masculine and your feminine energies within you. And this is where I am right now. I'm beginning to really feel this balance. Okay. And when I wasn't balanced, and the reason I'm sharing it is because I know a lot of people, again, are like right behind me on the path. You're going through your heart chakra being expanded and opening and feeling like you're going to throw up and feeling like you're dying, and that no one should ever have to go through this pain, and that God must not understand that something has went wrong, that your pain is worse than anybody's, and this is not fair, and this is not right, and all of the things that you feel as you're going through your dark night of the soul. um, I have been there. You know what I'm saying? Again, I talk about it a lot because I really want you to understand that, because I know it feels like no one understands. It feels like, especially when you're an empath, it's like 10 times worse. It's 10 times worse. For one, most people, people who are not empathic in nature, they just don't get it. And I mean, we can't blame them for not getting it, but empaths, only we understand that, like, we have not chosen to be this damn emotional. We are not choosing it. We're not doing it for attention. We are not, the reason why people think that our narcs do get over emotional. You know what I'm saying? Who would choose? Because you don't understand what it feels like when you're the one, and when you're the one going through it and feeling it. Like, it's not fun, okay? And no one, I mean, if you're not a narc, you don't really want that kind of attention, okay? Because no one, a true empath, you don't want anyone feeling sorry for you. You don't want anyone pitying you. And this is why, most empaths, we don't complain much. You know what I'm saying? We go through what we go through. We release our pains and our problems to the source. Okay. We go straight to quote unquote God with our problems. Okay. We don't go out here crying and whining, but sometimes the emotions that we feel are overwhelming. Okay. And the things that the most people don't understand is that we are even feeling the emotions that you won't allow yourself to feel. We're processing a lot of shit for this whole planet, because most of y'all heart chakras are locked down. Okay. So we are doing a lot of transmuting and transducing of energy. Okay. And so I know a lot of empaths feel so misunderstood, because a lot of people in your lives think that you are choosing to be emotional, that you are choosing to feel things as deeply as you feel them. You know what I'm saying? And most empaths, who are processing this energy, who are human transmutation devices of this energy, it's not fun. If they could trade places with somebody who doesn't feel as deeply, I promise you that we would. Okay. In 3D anyway. In 5D, we understand the purpose of us being here. We're stronger than the pain. Okay. Because if we weren't, we wouldn't be the ones going through it. Okay. The world, is full of, narcs and empaths, unfortunately. And, there's different levels of narcissism. And there's some narcs. I ain't gonna say narcs because they have different names for it. They want to say borderline personality disorder and this disorder and that disorder. But you know what I'm saying? It's about God energy and devil energy at the end of the day. And different people have different levels of devil energy in them. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that we don't all have it. Okay, it's about balancing it out. And the narcs, they are just very imbalanced on the devil energy side. Okay, which looks like chaos, and it's just something that nobody wants to be around, and really nobody deserves to have to be around. Okay. And empaths, you are just the opposite. You're overly emotional. You're overly You're very powerful, okay? Because emotion is energy and motion, which is power. But you feel things too deeply. You literally feel things with the heart of God, coming into a world that has been hardened, okay, full of people whose hearts are hardened, whose heart chakras are completely locked down, who are blocked. And so there's a great imbalance. And I just want you guys to know that I do understand how misunderstood you are. I do, I know that you are not choosing to be quote unquote over emotional. You know what I'm saying? One of my exes said to me one time that, you just too damn delicate. And, I just can't, I'm like, how does a man tell a woman that she's too delicate? Is that possible? You know what I'm saying? Is that really possible? And like, you know what I'm saying? But to me, you a narc anyway. But but the point is, I think it is possible in this world to appear too delicate. So what I'm saying, empath, is like, don't ever change your heart at the core, but at the same time, you have to develop a thicker skin. You have to develop a tolerance for the world that you're in. You know what I'm saying? You have to acknowledge um, your own shadows as well as the shadows of other people. Okay. So, this is what I've had to do. I mean, the shadow work is again about accepting and acknowledging the darkest parts of yourself, the parts of yourself that you don't want to acknowledge. Again, all of us have a little bit of narc tendencies in us, so if you think that you're perfect, again, that doesn't exist. Okay. So it's about achieving balance. And I feel very at peace with myself and at peace with what has happened in my life, and where my life is headed. Um, Even in the areas where there is uncertainty, I am at peace, even with the uncertainty, because there are things that I am certain of. You know what I'm saying? And that, that just kind of erases anything else. So, once you get to that place of like balance, of those two energies within yourself, the negative and the positive charge, you are then at point zero. You're ready to move forward with absolutely no baggage. You are the Fool card in the tarot. Okay, it's like you've gone through a lot. You've reached a plateau, and now you're headed on a new journey, and you have packed light. Okay, you're not carrying any baggage from the past. You've let go of the pain. You've let go of everything, and so none of that exists. I told y'all when I woke up after 11/11 that I felt, like some stuff had been erased. Okay. So, it's like, a lot of the baggage that you were carrying, a lot of the pain that you were holding on to, the bitterness, the resentment, all of those things begin to drop away the more that you balance yourself. Okay. When you're balanced, no one can devalue you. Okay. You overstand that, your very presence is a gift to anyone. You know what I'm saying? You understand the value of your energy. Okay, your energy is the pure. It's pure and it's true love and light. Okay, and so this especially to the empathic people on this path. You know what I'm saying? The pure love and light energy that you have given so freely to people who have not, have not appreciated, who have not recognized its value, who have not received, who have not received it, who actually trampled who trampled over it, and and turned around to attack you. Um, you know, that all that pure love and light that you have so freely given, it has not been wasted. Okay, it will be returned to you. Okay, it will be returned to you if you are open to receive it coming back to you in any way, shape, or form. Okay, and so right now, the way that I'm feeling inside myself, though I have walked through the valley of the shadow of death, you know, I, for one, I felt like I defeated the devil as a child, and so I do understand that. you can't really touch me. And so I've never really been afraid. And I've always kind of like faced my challenges head on. I mean, I will even become the aggressor because, I'm just not going to be, taunted by that. I know that this is, by my very nature, I am a warrior. I am, I don't mind taking the offense. Okay. When I recognize that someone is the enemy. Okay. You have to learn the art of war. You have to know when to move in silence. You got to know when to strike. You have to know the ways of the enemy. You know what I'm saying? And you have to have a master plan. Okay. So at this point, for those of you who are going through it, I just really want to be, an inspiration to you that you are going through a holy death. It feels like you're dying because a part of you is dying. Okay. I was literally visited by La Santísima Muerte at my ancestor altar right before I had my spiritual awakening. Okay, so now it's all coming together. I was being prepared to go through this. Okay, and now I feel like I am at point zero, which means that in 3D, because as I move back and forth through these different realities, and again, they're not different locations; they are different states of being, emotionally and psychologically. um I was hating coming back to 3D from 5D, and when I talk about that, because I don't want it to seem like, some fantasy world, this is very real, okay? But when you move between, these places, I was hating coming back to 3D. Like coming back to 3D would be like spiraling down into depression. I don't want to be here. It's a darker world, okay? But since we reached that harmonic convergence on the 11th, now when I come back to 3D, I feel more balanced now. Like I'm not being pulled down. I'm not being weighed down by that dark energy now. You know what I'm saying? Because it was always an imbalance. It was kind of like, how certain races of people oppressed other people so that they could give themselves a head start. Well, now the scales have been balanced, okay, so to speak. Okay. And that was just a metaphor. Okay. Let me give myself a couple of 200-year head start, okay, to make sure that you never catch up or you can't beat me. Okay. And that cheaters never win. Okay. At the end of the day, cheaters never win. And so now the scales are beginning to be balanced as far as the eternal battle of good and evil, of light and dark. For one, you should not be battling one another. Okay, it's about because at the end of the day, this is what creates the internal battle in the individual, and the need to have to kill off your own ego and to integrate its qualities into yourself, because you, for all these years, for all of most of your existence in this realm, you have felt that that dark part of yourself, those shadows, they are not me. That's not a part of me. That's something that must die. That's something that must be eradicated. Okay. And there are elements in it that most definitely must die, which is why we do get visited by Santa Muerte. Okay. The quote unquote grim reaper. Okay. This is about a spiritual death, a holy death, a death of the ego, a death of the parts of you that are weak. Okay. Who are not prepared to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Okay. But the part of you that is your higher self, um, it knows that you are fully protected. Okay. It has a rod and a staff, okay, to protect you. And I ain't trying to go biblical on y'all, but unfortunately, though I'm not a quote unquote Christian, there is truth in the Bible. So anytime you hear a quote unquote witch speaking the Bible, it's because parts of the Bible are true. Okay. Period. And when you, for the religious people, this is why religious people hold on to every part of certain religious texts, because of those truths that are planted in there. You know what I'm saying? And so they feel like they have to accept every part of it. Okay. But as you move into the higher realms, you're going to learn to accept what serves you, what helps you grow, what rings true and resonates with the truth that is already written on your heart. Okay. So This is a truth that's on your heart. This is why it resonates, okay? But even out of my mouth, okay, if there are things that don't resonate with you, that you don't feel that are going to serve you, that you feel that are steering you down the wrong path, then by all means, reject it, okay? Don't feel obligated just because somebody said something. Some things that they're saying feel right to you, because it's all about how it feels. You know what I'm saying? This is how you know the truth, okay? So it's all about how it feels. Just because I say one thing that feels right, if the next thing I say don't feel right, okay, and you make sure you run it through your heart, because that's where your true mind is. This is where all the issues of your life are flowing from, okay? And so you run it through your heart. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, if it's not working for you, you are fully free. Have all the freedom in the world to reject it. Okay. And this is from any source that's coming from outside of yourself. Okay. But basically at this point you are ready. Your blessings are on the way. If you have reached point zero, like where I am, on that middle point between your darkness and light, you have embraced your shadows. You have embraced your inner child. You have taken hold of your inner child's hand, and you are leading it back through the valley of the shadow of death. Okay. And this is a journey that's taking place within the self, and you are leading your inner child up back through the realms, to the higher realms, to the higher self. Okay. And you are all going to align, okay, and become this beautiful light being. Okay. And where you are right now, it is necessary that you be open to receive, okay, what is coming to you, your blessings, your divine birthright, okay? Because I feel that a lot of you who have gone through this, you're wounded warriors, and a lot of you are stuck mentally in your mind with the thoughts, fears that were created by what you've been through, okay? Fears that it may happen again. Someone may hurt me again. Someone may abandon me again. Someone may do those things that they did to me as a child again. Okay, these things are stuck in some of your minds, and it's time to release that. Okay, being open to receive means releasing control, okay, of and allowing the universe to fix those things. Okay. And I am going to put my next meditation, I'm going to put in Oshun Age exclusive, it's a meditation to give you methods of, how to release, being a transducer, a human transmutation device. I'm going to give you some exercises, to be able to release, because a lot of you take in this energy like a sponge, especially you empaths, and then you have trouble releasing. So a lot of this is why you do a lot of crying and praying, and whatever it is that you do, empath. I'm going to show you some easier ways, that will bring more relief when you take in, these dark energies, from without. Okay. To show you how to easier to make it easier to transmute these energies and to release them back to the divine. Okay. And not hold them within yourself. But a lot of these fears that are in your mind are because of what you've gone through. Okay. It reminds me of I remember when I was watching, a documentary about, Auschwitz. It was about, in Germany, when the people were in, concentration camps. This was when, Hitler, had people in concentration camps, and these people were suffering, these horrible, torturous, conditions. And I don't know how old I was. It was between maybe 12 and 14 years old, and I saw, an old black and white, real video of when they were bringing some of these people out of the concentration camps. And I was empathic. Being empathic my whole life. I mean, the what I felt. Oh my God! It was, for one, the one thing stood out to me. This one man that they brought out, the look in this man's eyes. I mean, it was like, because now it was like me being young, I hadn't, what I knew when I looked in this man's eyes was that he had experienced a level of pain, anguish that I did not know. You know what I'm saying? That I had no awareness or knowledge of. It was, I could see it in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? But now I completely relate um, to the look in that man's eyes, okay? Because now I have been there. Okay, it's a level of pain that you don't even know exists until you have been dipped down into it. Okay, a dip into hell, if you will. Okay, and back up. Okay, and so so right when I talked about that dip into hell, I got a vision of the rod and the staff, okay, of the shepherd, okay, and so I'm going to talk about that too in a minute, but I want you to understand that it's time to open to receive the blessings that are coming to you. For those of you who, um, you know, are at point zero where you are beginning to feel, the peace come back, over you. You're beginning to feel more balanced, and if you're not there yet, it's coming. Because again, it usually happens to me just a little bit before it happens to most of the rest of the collective. Okay, so being open to receive means releasing control and allowing the universe to bring it to you, surrendering to the universe and its ways. Okay, so be willing to receive your blessings in whatever way, shape, or form that they are going to come. It's about knowing that yes, you are good enough, and yes, you do deserve these gifts that are coming. You do deserve them. Okay, and so because this is, when you hold in your mind a lot of what you've been through in the past, that's there are attachments along with those fears and those pains that you're holding on to. There are attachments that say you're not good enough. You don't deserve this. And so when you let go of the pain, when you let go of the fear, the resentment, the bitterness, you also let go of those attachments. Okay? And you don't allow anything like that to interfere with you, getting through the lower regions of the self to reach your higher self. Okay, the only reason you have been dipped down into your lower self, the only reason you ventured down through there, through the valley of the shadow of death, was to rescue your inner child who was trapped there. Okay, the ego had caused arrested development, and it had trapped your child in the lower regions of yourself, like the little girl on the movie Us, who was trapped when she went into the house of mirrors. Do y'all remember that there was, when the movie first started, they talked about the underground, these underground like labs that they had, that nobody really knew the purpose of them. Okay, nobody really knew the purpose of these underground, you know places where these duplicates were being created, where these shadows were living. Okay, this is the valley of the shadow of death. Okay, you ventured into this dark valley of the shadow of death, just like the little girl went into that house of mirrors. Okay, and you went there to rescue your inner child because now you're strong enough. Okay, this is the big you went through the valley of the shadow of death to rescue your inner child and to bring her back into alignment with the real you, with the higher self. And you don't fear any evil because your higher self literally does possess a rod and a staff. Okay, and you should be comforted by that. Okay, the rod is what a shepherd uses. Okay, and this is all symbolic. Okay, everything is metaphorical, it's symbolic. Okay, so you should in your mind be able to get the visual. The rod, let's talk about the staff that was used, okay, by the shepherd. It's used to guide the herd of sheep. It's used as a guide. Okay, so the staff is your guide. Okay, and that guide is within you. Again, your creator, your source, your higher self, they are all the same, and it is both with and in you. It's within. Okay, that guide, that staff, Okay, it on the end of the staff is a little curly piece that's like a hook. It's the rod. Okay, the rod is the end of the staff. That rod was used to pull the sheep out of traps, out of dangerous situations. Okay, when they did get lost, when they did find themselves stuck. Okay, so understand what the rod and the staff is. It's an internal guide. Your intuition, if you will allow it to, you won't ever find yourself in those situations. But in case you decide, for those times that you do decide not to listen, um, not to, listen to your intuition, the rod is at the end of the staff to pull you out of those traps, okay? To remove you from the path of those dangerous karmic situations that are coming towards you, okay? So as you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, which is the lower regions of your inner self, to rescue your inner child from your own ego, empath, light worker, star seed. As you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, understand that your higher self does possess that staff with that rod on the end of it. Okay, your higher self is your guide, it is guiding you. That's what the staff is. The rod will pull you out of the traps and dangers that you find yourself in when you choose not to listen to your guide, to your intuition. Okay, so there's a lot of symbolism. Okay, so if y'all have not seen the movie Us, I don't know why my spirit keeps taking me back to this movie. This movie comes from a very deep place. Okay, in someone's soul. Okay, these messages are very pertinent for the time right now, very connected to my own dream about the time of change, the butterflies, the people who were possessed who didn't know it, me going on this spiritual journey, La Santísima Muerte literally visiting me at my altar. You can find that video somewhere on this channel, and I'll find it once I'm done and add it as a link in the description, because I talked about it when it happened. Okay, knowing that I was, preparing me for this holy death that I have just gone through, this spiritual awakening that I've been sharing with you guys. Okay, the whole time I told y'all I felt the angels around me. I felt my ancestors, my guides. Okay, I have not been afraid of anything the whole time. You're not going to be afraid, because again, your guide, the staff, okay, and the rod. Okay, so even if you do find yourself in a sticky situation, your higher self is looking, is overstanding the situation, sees it from a bird's eye view. It can get you out. Okay, so when you don't allow any interference between you and your higher self, this is why a lot of you have been placed in seclusion, in isolation. Okay, so that you learn to trust your intuition, your guide, your rod and staff above anything else. This is where you are safe. This is where you know that you are safe. Okay, the rod at the end of the staff, it not only pulls you out of traps and dangers, but it can also be used as a weapon in your defense. You know, when the enemies decide to want to get froggy. Okay, you are not alone at all. And this is what the only time that you feel alone is when you are identifying with the physical body as the self. Okay, so the journey is about realigning yourself with your higher self, so your lower self, which you identify as whatever your name is. Okay, and when you learn the name of your soul and you are able to connect with your soul, you bring that inner child, the contemporary, which is you, and your higher self, which we call God, all into alignment. Then all you have to do is allow, because everything you speak, everything you imagine, everything that you desire just is. Okay, but the journey, the path from the lower self to the higher self is one that you, the contemporary, must take. Okay, it's a path that you take through your heart chakra, okay, down through the darkest parts of yourself to rescue that inner child that was trapped, okay, and to bring her out through the valley of the shadow of death. You, higher self, you are protecting her, okay, with your rod and your staff, your guide and your weapon, okay, and you will bring your inner child into alignment with your higher self, okay. There is nothing to fear in the valley of the shadow of death when you recognize and you understand what the rod and the staff are, and that your higher self is in possession of these things, fully ready to use them at any moment. Your higher self has been using them even as you speak. A lot of you have been protected from so many pitfalls and pulled out of so many traps. It's time that you acknowledge the divine protection that you are under. You are safe. Continue moving forward because you're getting to the good part, okay? You are just now beginning to balance yourself to where you're not on that emotional roller coaster anymore, okay. And those of you who are, it's coming, so it's closer than you know, because you wouldn't have found this video if you were not resonating at this frequency. So welcome to point zero, because from point zero we move ahead as the fool in the tarot deck with no baggage. Okay, only a couple of things that we wanted to hold on to, and none of those are dark or negative. The things that we got in this little bag that we have thrown over our shoulder carelessly, you know it's wisdom, it's knowledge, it's confidence, strength, all of the things that will comprise the new colors that we will be able to see in our auras, in our energetic vibration and frequency. So, it has been a hard, long and hard journey. And again, some of us have not come to point zero yet, but for those of you who have reached point zero, where you feel balanced within the self, welcome. And for those of you who are on the way, be inspired, get excited, recognize your rod and your staff, know that you are safe, and go ahead and release the rest of those fears, the rest of that bitterness, the rest of the pain. Your heart becomes so light, and all of the things in your world that you don't like, that you didn't want to see, they just naturally just start falling away. You're ready now for a new journey. You're going forward. You happy. You're the fool because you don't know what's ahead of you. Okay? You can't see it. You're so happy though, being uncertain. You have walked through the valley of the shadow of death. You have faced your worst fears. You were guided out. You know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are safe, you are protected, that there is nothing that this world can present to you that will knock you off your square now. You overstand the situation, meaning you see everything in this realm from a higher perspective now. You have aligned with your higher self. You are now the guide. You possess a rod and staff. So now you get in position light worker, empath, healer, shaman. You know what your rod and your staff is for. And if you acknowledge that you possess these things, then acknowledge what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Because when you get in position, everything else in your life falls into position. Your blessings, your love life, your physical appearance, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, all the things that you desire, abundance, the faucet is turned on and your cups runneth over. Those of you who have found this video, you are so close. If you are not yet here at this place of peace, you are so close. So stay focused. Don't allow any interference. You are almost out. The ego is dying. And you are aligning with your highest self. You possess a staff that you are going to use to help guide others out. And with the rod at the end of that staff, you are going to pull those out who have trapped themselves, who have found themselves lost. It's a hook. It can also be used as a weapon in defense. So as you come to the end of the road in that valley of the shadow of death, and you are at point zero where you can see the light now. So now the moon is no longer your closest guide, but now you're getting closer to the sun. It's a different quality of light. We value them equally, but this is the part that we've been waiting for. No? To the 4 people in the chat, you have been gifted with a rod and a staff. You are healed whether you realize it or not. To realize is to make real. You make it real by believing it, by knowing it. It's time to go forward because there are those who need your guidance. You were some of the first to, in this generation, to walk through this valley, being guided by your higher self, being protected by your higher self, being pulled out of traps and defended by your higher self. At the end of the journey, you realize that you are the child that you went to rescue, that you went through that valley to rescue. It was yourself. That's what it feels like when the alignment comes. There's no other, there's no inner child, there's no me and higher self. There is but one being having many experiences. Let that sink in, make it real. honor your rod and your staff, teacher, shaman, healer, light worker, oracle. You will begin to awaken moment by moment to the truth of who you are. From this point on, do mirror meditations, positive affirmations, positive intentions should be held in the mind at all times, and your flock will be led to you. For some of you, they have already begun to show up. You are prepared. Don't doubt yourself. Do not allow any interference. You have reached a plateau in this journey where the energy has shifted. So now the pain, the bitterness, the betrayal, all of those things that had become entities within themselves, they've been left behind. They can no longer reach you at point zero. You are literally standing in between worlds, completely safe. Nothing from your old world can touch you now, and the new world is waiting for you to create it. It's already there, but you create your own personal experience by choosing, by desiring. There's a school of thought that, you know, things don't exist unless you're there to observe it. There's a saying that, if a tree falls in the forest, will it make a sound? Because, there's no one there to hear it. So it's all about the observer, the perspective of the observer. And when the observer is not there, is the object really there? Is the occurrence really there? So the perspective that you're going to have going forward is one of an observer who is creating the thing that they are observing. It's just like, when a narcissist, they're so funny because they are like these dark mirrors, they're telling anything that they say about another person, they're basically telling you about themselves. This is what the universe is going to be showing you. See, you don't reach this point of literally being able to call these things into being unless you've done the work. So if you're here and you're fully here with me and you understand and you get it, then you've obviously done the work. So accept your rod and your staff proudly and understand what it is that you must do going forward. That even when you reach your highest self, there are selves that are even higher, okay? So the growth never stops, the journey never ends. If there is such thing as infinity, why would quote unquote God be anything less than that? So yes, your expansion is infinite, and you're just now beginning to burst out of your cocoons. There are so many worlds for you to explore once you are able to fit yourself into your own Merkaba. And we're not going to go any further into that. We'll talk about that in another video. I've been here quite a while, my people. I would like for you to go back and go back through the video. I know I kind of stretched it out. I just been sitting here kind of babbling, and but there have been some very pertinent messages in here too for the people who are, who have been very emotional and like, up and down, and especially the empaths on the path, the emotional roller coaster. Again, within myself, I'm feeling, a deep sense of peace come over me, and I feel balanced, like, wow. And it feels good to be balanced, because that spiritual awakening, that shock, it throws you off balance. And that is like the worst feeling in the world. Okay. It's the worst feeling ever, is torture. So to be back balanced, you know what I'm saying? To just feel balanced again, be back at point zero, where now I can, go forward with no baggage. um I just wanted to come and be an inspiration, because I know a lot of people are, you're within days of being where I am. Okay. And so I just want to encourage you, because it does get always darkest before the dawn. And so some people are just going through it right now, and I'm telling you, that's why. You know what I'm saying? Because you're about to reach point zero, where you'll be at the point where, if you don't allow any interference, the only thing that you're charged with doing is opening yourself and allowing yourself to receive all of the gifts. You know what I'm saying? That the universe has for you. This is your divine birthright. Okay. And all you have to do is be open and willing and ready to receive it in whatever form that it's going to come in. Okay. Being open to receive means releasing control of things and just allowing the universe, surrendering to the universe and its ways of doing things. Okay. Allowing that love and light to come in whatever form, because a lot of you have been freely giving it out and you haven't received what you deserve back. So you need to understand that you do deserve this. You have worked for this. And yes, you are good enough. This is all you are charged with believing at this point, because you have done the work, light worker. You do deserve this. And yes, you are good enough. You have walked through the valley of the shadow of death. You have been protected. You have listened to your intuition. You have died a holy death. And at point zero, you realize that now you are getting ready to go through the rebirth process, which is not as painful as the death was. Okay. You have mourned yourself, your own ego. You have fought and killed your own shadow. Okay. You have taken the meat and left the bones of life. And now you stand on a new horizon, unsure of what's ahead, but also unafraid, fearless, powerful, in possession of a rod and a staff. Ready to help others, ready to do your job. Way shower. Congratulations.